Welcome back to RBR, guys, and oh my God, it's sweltering out here. One sec. Assistant, thank you. So guys, you know that if a brown man like me is forced to hold this ridiculous looking Audi Sport hat, that it is flipping boiling here. And welcome to what is perhaps the world's most loved and affordable sports car, and that is the RS3, now updated with predictably even more Audi Sport DNA, both in this Sportback version and in the Saloon and the Sedan, both of which we are checking out today. There's been a ton of changes in the exterior and a load of changes in the interior as well as some massaging to make the car even better in terms of dynamics and handling, and they've spent a bit of time on getting that exhaust note to sound even better. So there's loads to look at today while I melt out here in Spain. Let's first talk about the design, where I think you're going to find most of the changes on the new RS3 in both versions. If we compare it to the previous car, which happily was also Kyalami green, you'll see that the front end is actually quite significantly different. On the previous car, it was a little bit more busy. I think it matched kind of the way that the old or the previous RS4 looked, whereas this one takes a lot more from the RS6, particularly the side blades that are really pushed to the side of the vehicle, the wider lower part of our front bumper, the more aggressive looking front grille as well. We've got some new Audi branding on the front, and of course, the now completely customizable digital lights on the front, which are great. So what I think we need to do first is take a look around this car and have a look at all the different bits, which are quite cool. So let's do that on both the Sportback and the Saloon. Right guys, let's have a look at the design. We've got both cars here. We've got the Sportback in Kyalami green and the lovely grey Sedan over there. Let's start over here because you can really see the changes on the front end. Like I showed you compared to the previous car, I think most of it is kind of how you got that more RS6-like look at the lower air intakes, because it's so much wider. They've actually increased the width of the lower intake and the lower splitter here by quite a large margin. They've made these side blades in carbon like you have in the RS6. You've got a much bigger air intake here that's not blocked off by body color now. All of that looks so much more aggressive. The lights I'll come back to in a sec. You've got a broad grille with the new Audi corporate identity. What is the new Audi corporate identity? It's this basically. So we've got a 2D structure for your Audi rings, if you come close and have a look. And it's meant to go into the grille and do this sort of thing. So it's a new look. It looks quite nice. You've got this hexagonal pattern on the grille, still the same amount of cooling because the engine power, etc., hasn't changed, as we'll get into. Lights are exactly the same shape, but they do something clever. You've got 4 different designs that you can have in the daytime running lights in the LEDs for the Matrix version and 3 different for the standard version. Let me show you all 4 different ones now. So guys, this is the first one, and it is the checkered flag that's unique to the RS3. Here's the second one, which is like 2 L shapes. We go to the third one here, which is like 3 separate blocks. And finally, the fourth one, which is actually my favorite. I really like this one. I don't know why. I think it just suits the car. So that's the last one you have. The checkered flag, though, is unique to the RS3, so just bear that one in mind. Coming around the side of the car, we've got brand new wheel designs. These are motorsport inspired according to Audi. You can see they're quite multi-spoked, Y-shaped, etc. They're either finished in this finish or one that I'll show you on the Sedan in a second. They're quite nice, but more important than those are the tyres that we're going to go into in a second. These are new C-rated tyres, and I will explain what that means later in the review. This is all still the same with your outlet vent here on the side, but you have got some new Audi corporate identity here like you find in all the models. So now it says Audi RS3 Sportback, in case you forget what car you're driving, which is obviously quite a problem that a lot of people have. On the side, nothing has really changed at all. You still got your carbon side sill. The wheels look nice, but on the rear is actually really quite nice, the changes that they've done here. I'm a big fan compared to even the front. So we've got new lights on the rear that also have animations like you have on the front. That's for like leaving home and coming back from home. I can't show you those at the moment, but they are something that exist in the car. Much better than that is what they've done here on the lower diffuser, which is so much more motorsport than it's ever been. The exhausts are now covered with the black trim in a way that they look even bigger. It's really clever. They kind of scoop outwards that way, and it kind of makes the exhaust look even larger. The diffuser is more aggressive than it ever was. They put a reflector right in the middle. kind of, you know, motorsport F1 derived look there. You've got carbon fiber going around here, and then on the sides here, you've got that reflector sitting within the black that kind of matches the way we have the intakes on the front end, so a bit of symmetry going on there. And this, when you kind of step back and look at that 3/4, I just think that looks really, really good. Like it's got the aggression that I think the car was missing on the rear previously. Again, the new Audi, I mean, they're quite flat. I would love to know what you guys think of this new branding. I think it's going to be a love or hate thing. It's clean looking, but is it as special as the chrome? I'm not sure yet. Now, let's have a look at the sedan. What do you guys think of that? Who's a bigger fan of the sedan than the hatchback? I am. I think this looks great. This is Kimura grey. Both of these colours unique to the RS only. And I just think this looks brilliant, particularly with the silver wheels, the bicolour wheels that just suit this even more. The front looks great on this as well. Obviously the exact same design changes on this compared to that as well. But the wheels just look better, I think. They look bigger, they look more interesting. Got the silly spinny caps in there. Red calipers really help make the wheel look larger as well. And the side profile, I would argue actually, I think it's a bit better looking than the hatchback. What do you guys think? I mean, that rear to me, it's just got some really nice aggression, particularly for a little saloon. This is still it's one of the smallest saloons you'll see on the road, and to see it have this really aggressive diffuser and exhaust setup with the spoiler and everything that's going on here, that's outlet vent on the front wheel arch, it just looks special to me, like a special saloon. So I'm a big fan of this. Really nice look. But while you may argue that that over there has a lot of competitors, what competitor do you have to this car? There's no A45 saloon. There's nothing from BMW with 4 doors and a small body style that can do what this does. I think this is a special car. I think this, at some point, if they ever stop making it, it'll be a sought after thing, in my opinion. So guys, rather than something that you might want to remove before you race, today's sponsor is something that you definitely want to add before you race. And that is RaceChip, with their in-house developed tuning boxes and a new pedal box made in Germany and designed to enhance the performance of your car in the best way possible. Let me tell you more about it now. So guys, let's talk about the GTS Black Box first. If you add this to your RS3, for example, you'll get a massive power bump of 60 horsepower and 80 Newton meters, which on a 400 horsepower car is significant. But this is not a one-trick pony. It's not like you just do the tune and that's it. You can cycle between 7 different finely tuned maps through their app on the go. And you can even choose the driving modes and the settings while you're on the go, which is absolutely brilliant. But if you don't want to go for the full performance version, you can also get the RaceChip RS box, which gives you pretty similar performance and all the same configurability that you find in here. And in some countries, you even get a 1-year engine warranty, and they have a huge dealer network available to you should you want to get them to install it. But I should mention, it is plug and play, so it's really easy to just do yourself if you want to as well. Now, this is the other product. It can either be used standalone or alongside the tuning, and this is their XLR throttle response controller. And again, just like the tuning, it can be configured on the go. You can either have a much more race-focused throttle response, or you can have a much more relaxed one that will help you with fuel economy. Again, it's easy to install, plug and play, but this thing is really clever. It even comes with a little touch LCD screen, so you can change the modes on the go. You don't need to use the app if you don't want to. And along with the 7 driving modes, you also get smart features like valet mode, limiter mode, anti-theft mode. And again, you can use it either with the tuning or standalone. So a tuning solution and a throttle control solution from RaceChip. Of course, as RBR viewers, I've got you guys a discount of 15%, which is great. Just use the code RBR15 and you'll get a straight 15% discount. And a huge thanks to you guys for supporting our regular sponsors and to RaceChip for sponsoring this episode. Let's get back to the new RS3. So that's the design of the car. Let's now talk about the performance. Of course, you've still got their brilliant 5-cylinder 2.5 litre TFSI engine, which is simply one of the best sounding engines in the modern world still today. And they haven't messed around with it. So the firing order is still the same iconic 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, which sounds so damn good, but they have worked on the sound. So if you want to hear it, this is what it sounds like. sounds great, but when you're driving it gets better because they've got a valve controlled exhaust system, of course, like most cars, but between the rev ranges of 2,200 and 3,500, the flaps open even more and it's going to sound epic because the last one used to as well. But one slightly disappointing note is nothing has been done on the performance of the engine in any technical way. So we still have 400 PS, 500 Newton meters. It still does the sprint to 60 in 3.8 seconds. And Audi says they're best in class, so they don't need to do that. A similar statement that AMG made when they were updating the A45s. Apart from this, we've got the same gearbox, we've got the same suspension system, same exhaust system as we mentioned as well. But what has changed is Audi taking on feedback from people like me and you saying that the handling wasn't quite as good as it should be, which is really good for them to kind of take on board and now improve. And the way they've improved it is by essentially software. They've taken the algorithm that's used to manage all the various parts of the car, like the ESC, the dampers, and the rear torque splitter, which is quite clever. As you remember, it gives you the drift mode. And the way that these things talk to each other now allow the RS3 to be even more dynamic, particularly in its performance mode. The way it does that is through clever torque control, control of the dampers, and what Audi say is it reduces the understeer and makes the oversteer better, where you don't need to put more throttle in, you can instead do it with steering angle. And Audi says the on-track performance is much, much better than it used to be. And in typical Audi sports style, they've gone to the Nürburgring and proved it as well, dethroning the M2 as the fastest compact car on the ring with a cracking drive of 7 minutes and 33 seconds, and it was in our lovely Sedan as well. So those changes clearly having a big effect on the overall driving experience of the RS3. Now the final thing that they've changed is tyres. We have now got a C-rated tyre as standard, so it's the Pirelli P0R on here, and it's C-rated. It's better in the wet, it's better in the dry, and it's going to give all-round better performance for the RS3 in daily usability. And additionally, you can still get the slick tyres for track use as well. As before, the Sedan, of course, technically, we're talking an identical setup as the RS3, so the same performance as we have in this car, and the same changes. It just depends which one you like out of the two. The final bit now is what has changed in the interior. Let's sit inside and take a look. So guys, here we are inside the interior of the Sedan, and the reason I chose the Sedan to begin with is because it's got a slightly more interesting interior. Hopping out for a second, you can see we've got the standard Audi sport seats in here, and this interior is one of two that you can choose in terms if you want some color added to it. This is the red one, and you can get one with green color as well, and that will give you green on the dynamic and microfiber on the seats here and on the stitching, and where you see the red used, for example, in the vents here, and that is with the standard sport seats. In a second, I'm going to show you the new bucket seats that you can get, which are in our Sportback over there. But yeah, to begin with, I thought we would start with this more colourful interior because it's got a little bit more going on for you to look at visually. So a few things changed. The general structure is the same as our pre-facelift, but you do, for example, have a brand new steering wheel. This is one that they're pushing out to all the Audi Sport new models, and it's a double flat steering wheel. So you've got a flat bottom and you've got a flat top now as well. As you can see, it's still nice and slim like we've always liked with the best Audi Sport steering wheels. And there's some other interesting changes as well. You've got the brand new, as they call, satellite buttons, but really they are your driving mode buttons for RS Performance and RS2. So for example, if we go into Drive Select, we have our modes here that we can configure as always. And now this button here will take you into RS Performance, and this button here will take you into RS2. And it's really nice. I love the way these are done. They look really great, and they're in that kind of design where you really just do want to press the button, right? So it looks nice. The steering wheel itself, the spoke down here is quite nice. I think the middle is just a bit too plain. To me, it just screams of like a standard Audi steering wheel in the middle. The buttons on the side, though they are touch base, they do have a nice satisfying click to them, and it's quite easy to change stuff with them on the Audi virtual cockpit. You have got the 12 o'clock marker again here in Dynamica. We have got a new shifter though. Like most manufacturers, they're reducing the size of the shifters, so that's like a reduced version here. You've still got your start stop button with the red circle around it. Large piece of carbon here, that's RRS specific. This one is in matte carbon. I'll show you a different one in the other car. And then our door handles and a few other key trims in the car, like the spoke over here, is finished in this like glittery metallic graphite type color, which is a really nice finish. I quite like that. So I'm a big fan of this colored version of the interior. Now we're going to head into the Sportback and I want to show you the new carbon bucket seats and what's changed within Audi's excellent virtual cockpit. So guys, now in here, these seats will look familiar to you if you've seen our reviews of the RS4 and the RS5 competition. These are the Audi Sport carbon bucket seats with our RS inlays in both, and this is the interior without any of those two color options. So it's just plain black, which again, if you want a kind of a more sedate looking one, this is the one to go for. And the nice thing about the carbon seats is that when you check them out from the rear, they've got this wonderful matte carbon fiber backing, which is massive, absolutely huge. And that is the rear space. Again, all of that unchanged versus our pre-facelift. So now equally inside, slightly different steering wheel, no dynamica, perforated leather instead, but still flat bottom and flat top with our satellite buttons, but a bit less color going on. So you might prefer this if you like kind of a simpler look in this car. Now in terms of our Audi virtual cockpit, we've got a few new options. This is a brand new mode called the rev counter that we haven't had before. It's got a large central rev counter, as the name suggests. Of course, you can change the information on the side as you've always been able to, on both sides in fact. So on the other side you can choose anything out of here that you want. But you still have all the others that we used to have as well. For example, the runway, which I thought was a fantastic one. You've got performance here, which is the kind of the L-shaped one, and then the more traditional double dial. The newest one is the rev counter, and again, all of those you can have all the different designs that you want in them. What's nice is for the first time I've noticed Sonus as the speaker system within a new Audi model. I know it's come in the new Q4 etc as well, but this is the first time I've seen it in an RS. Overall it's nice. The interior was always nice, not ultra premium, but very sporty still. I really do like the steering wheel, but if it was my money I'd be going for one of the coloured versions of this car. So guys, that's our first look at the RS3 Sportback and the Sedan. I love this one, as you know. What do you guys think? If you want my opinion on it, I think technically not a lot has changed, so current owners aren't really going to be crying over it. What has changed is the design that I love. I really love the front end. I think I love the rear even more. So for new customers, this is going to be really attractive. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of RBR. If you have, please do like and subscribe. And I'm going to get out of here before I get cooked even further. See ya.